The blessings of suffering. There are many blessings in suffering, and we know that suffering is the path to glory. And it was this way with Christ. Christ had to go through suffering, but after he died on the cross, he rose again the third day, and he ascended into heaven, and he now sits at the right hand of the Father. And so we must not find it strange when the fiery trials try us, as James says. We need to not allow persecution to make us sad, but we should know that if they persecute us, know that they persecuted Christ first. And we need to know that it is those who go through suffering for the sake of Christ's name who are blessed and who will be blessed. Because we're not living for this life, we're living for God first and foremost, and for the life that is to come. And so there are many blessings in suffering. They allow us to understand the realities that life is fleeting, and so it helps us to draw our senses and everything that we are to God, who is eternal and who is worth living for. Sufferings help us to grow in virtue. It helps us to become stronger in the faith and to become even more courageous and bold. Suffering helps us to understand the many blessings that God has given us in this life. Suffering is just a means that continues to build us up and makes us more in the image of Christ. Because if we lived an easygoing, free life with no suffering at all, no difficulties, no adversity, well, what kind of faith would that be? We certainly would not grow, because we know that true growth happens through suffering. It happens through the difficult times. And that's why failures are wonderful, because they help to build a testimony of when that future success comes. And we see this in certain entrepreneurial ventures where many people failed and then eventually they get that thing. But it's those failures that taught them to learn and understand where they currently are at, and it led them to that idea. And likewise, many times when we suffer, whether we lose loved ones, or we're going through health problems, or we lose a job, and we don't even know what our purpose or career is, that draws us to God. Because when we have everything going for us, we do not seek God. We become independent. We think we don't need God. But it's those who are blessed with suffering. The blessing of suffering draws them to God, to seek God's face, to ask for his strength and his mercy and his grace and his help and his wisdom and in this time of need that we're going through. And God is willing to speak and move and act upon and within us and within our lives, because God desires to do that. And when we go through those sufferings, we're automatically being drawn back to God if we take the appropriate action, and then we are building a more intimate relationship. We're diving deeper and getting deeper than just a ground surface level. We're going in deep, and we're having the roots be planted within us, and then those will sprout, and then we will have a strong, sturdy testimony of, look what God has done. He got me through this suffering. He gave me a loving heart when I was persecuted. Look what God has done. So may we understand that there are blessings in suffering, and may we allow suffering to draw us closer to God, in order that we may be more Christ-like and bear his image to the world, that all may come to see him through the Holy Spirit working in and through us.